Hi, this is Sue for Parkies and Me, My Journey with Parkinson's. I was sitting in my lounge this morning thinking about my health and doing a little bit of a stock take in my head of what's been going on for me lately. And so I was watching a bit of fluff on telly, and so my mind was able to wander, and I started to think about the fact that it's going to be my 5th year since diagnosis at the end of this year, because I was diagnosed on the 15th of the 12th, 2020. And that moment in time was to affect the rest of my life. But I have not allowed it thus far to derail my life and my ability to do things, but it is always there in the background. And every time I get an ache or a pain or something strange happening to my body, I think, is this Parkies or is it not? So I'm still what they call a slow burner. I haven't got a lot of symptoms. The symptoms that I do have are kept quite well under control by my medication, and that's appreciated because I want to keep going as long as I can and be as functional as I can. So sitting there in my lounge thinking about my stress points in my body, those things that make life a little bit uncomfortable. And one of the things that I've noticed is that I drool quite a lot out of the right-hand side of my mouth. Now, I'm not quite sure why that should be. It's actually my left-hand side that is most affected, but for some reason my right-hand side gets very drooly and I have to wipe it several times during the day. And I'm pretty sure that that's a Parkinson's thing, if you like. So I'll probably do a Dr. Google and find out that. But it's an annoyance more than a big issue. So I just have to make sure that I've got a tissue or something that I can wipe my face with. I've also had a very sore left foot. My doctor had a look at it and didn't think it was much. He said that the muscles in my legs are waking up after not having to do much for quite some time, and that's the source of all the pain in various parts of my legs. Nothing like the pain that I had before, but it's still a pain. It still makes it uncomfortable to walk, which is a major pain in the neck. So the pain in my foot, it's manageable. I'm sure I can do some more walking once the other issues for me have been attended to. So I recently had an operation on my back, and I'm currently recovering from that operation. It was 5 weeks ago on Monday, so we're quite close to the 5th anniversary, if you like, of my being diagnosed. It wasn't a golden moment in my life, I can tell you. But I'm just hoping that this slow burner doesn't suddenly heat up and become a fast burner, because I have things in my life that I want to do. So my health in general seems reasonably okay. I think I may have a touch of hay fever at the moment, but if that's all I've got to worry about, then life's doing okay. So my knee gets a bit clunky, the one that I had the operation on the right-hand side. So that gets a bit clunky. My husband says it's because I've been doing more with my body, more walking around, more active, that it might just be objecting and getting a little bit swollen and uncomfortable. I don't think my swallowing has got any worse. It seems to be a standard issue if I eat the usual buns that you buy for your barbecue. Those are usually too bready for me. French sticks are good if they're made into garlic bread, but if I tried to chew one without it being heated up like that, I wouldn't be able to manage. My swallowing has been a problem for a while, so it's not as if it's increased markedly, at least I don't think it has. But I think my voice is basically okay. But I do find that towards the end of even a quite short sentence, that I normally have to sort of stop and take a bit of a breath because I run out of breath and I get very, very breathy. I find that when I'm doing these podcasts as well, it can be a little bit of a nuisance because I might want to say a particular word and I can't do that. My walking is coming right. Walking wasn't a problem with my Parkies, I have to emphasise, but my back issues has caused my legs significant pain, making it difficult to walk, and it's got me on a walking frame at the moment. But the walking frame is definitely just a temporary measure while I concentrate on my recovery. I do notice while I was getting ready to say those last few words, I was stuttering quite badly in the background. And I hope the microphone hasn't picked it up, but that's what editing is for. So I find my stuttering. Sometimes I find myself getting a really, really dry mouth, no matter how much water I drink. Having trouble getting to sleep and staying asleep, that's an issue. And, it's just as well that I'm not working, because it would be difficult to work in those circumstances. What else have I been doing from time to time? Just check how you're feeling, any symptoms that might be hanging around that you've got used to, so you don't see them as an issue. But they may be, and they may benefit from rehab and learning to speak again, learning to do a number of things again if you've had an event. And sometimes maybe with this progression we may be able to find a new way to do things that we can do sitting down, for instance, cooking. There's a few things that we can do, I'm sure. I'm going to get back in that kitchen and cook my beautiful man something yummy. Well, tonight, not right now, because he's still asleep. So I don't think I've noticed any other progression. Sometimes I feel a bit fuzzy-headed, like I can't think straight. I know when I've been doing these podcasts from time to time, I'll not have done a podcast for a couple of days, and I sit down and I record, and I save it, and then I go to export it, and I have to really think sometimes how I do that. And I've done it several times now, so I shouldn't even have to think about it, but no, I have to stop sometimes and think, where do I go from here? So if I want stuff that I recorded on this program, on Descript, sometimes I struggle with figuring out how to transfer it to the other platforms. Always work it out, and it gets there in the end. But sometimes I think my brain just sort of switches off and doesn't want to know anything. So, I was just trying to think of some of my symptoms at the moment, and I can't believe that I forgot this one. I have got the driest mouth. It's absolutely crazy. And my mouth and my tongue in particular, really, really incredibly dry. And my throat starts to dry up as well if I don't do something about it. So I do have this gel stuff that I put on from time to time to moisten my mouth. So I've discovered this gel that's really good if you get a dry mouth. And it's called Oral 7 Rehydrating Mouth Gel. That's Oral 7 Rehydrating Mouth Gel. And it says real dry mouth relief. And you just put a bit of it on your finger and put it in your mouth and sort of swish it around, and it moistens up your mouth, and it's really good. This was recommended by a speech language therapist, so I know that it's good, I know that it's safe, and she works with a number of people with Parkinson's, so I really recommend it. And it's been great. Another thing that a speech language therapist recommended to me, I have had sometimes what I would call a gummy throat in the mornings, where I have to keep clearing my throat. It feels all sort of gummy and horrible, and it's not very nice. And I was talking to the speechy, which is what we called speech language therapists at work. So I was talking to this speechy, and I said, I get this horrible gummy throat in the morning sometimes, and it's awful. What can I do for it? And she said, I'll tell you what, get yourself a bottle of Coke. If you drink some Coke, apparently the bubbles in it will break up secretions in your throat that are getting too thick and making you clear your throat all the time. So I always had a bottle of Coke on my desk at work, and I quite often have one in the car as well. Because it's not a nice feeling having to clear your throat all the time. So that was a useful tip. So I think those are the main things that I've noticed with my Parkinson's so far. All quite minor, all quite manageable. So I acknowledge that I am lucky in that, but luck at some stage is not going to be on my side, but I will fight with everything I have to try and keep it together for as long as I can. So this has been my journey with Parkinson's. Kia kaha, be strong, be brave, be you.